What's up, everybody? And welcome back. You know the vibes. You know the vibes. It's the Duenkel Productions Podcast presented by Wisconsin and Ochs. I mean, you guys know the vibes. Wisconsin and Ochs, great company. Talk all about Wisconsin sports, outdoor sports, fantasy sports. We got a guy that writes for them on the show, does great work for Bucks articles. I'll have one of those linked down below. My main man, writer for Wisconsin and Ochs, co-host of the Make the Cut podcast. I will have all of their social medias down below, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You dang better go over there and subscribe to their channel. Andrew, how are we doing today, man?
Doing good, bro. Did you almost forget my name there for a second or what? You a little pause there after you said the writer for, he is, I was like, okay, Donk, I thought we were closer than that, bro. I thought we were good friends. You almost forgot the homie's name, dude. Come on now, but I'm doing good. Like we talked about before we recorded, dude. I just, baked a cake. The legend story of, just wanting some frosting in my life, and I wasn't just gonna eat it straight out of the container. So, like, let me bake a strawberry cake, get a little bit of frosting on there, double, triple layer frosting, and looking forward to having a piece of that during the show.
So for those that don't know, me and Andrew Ochs are great friends. He's obviously been on the show before. Big fan of the show, big friend of the show. Great friend of mine. I consider him definitely one of my best friends. Dude is awesome. We may not always agree on who's the greatest of all time, but I'll tell you this: we are unbelievable friends. And Andrew, I appreciate you for coming on the show. Also, guys, make sure if you head over to Make the Cut to check out their episode that featured me. It was a lot of fun. We talked about the All-Star game. We did the All-Star draft. I ended up winning. Everyone thought my team was better. 52% of the people over that are fans of Make the Cut have spoken that my team was the best. So I guess I learned a lot from Le GM. But Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit about how me and you became friends?
Yeah, so what was it, Dunk? Like August, right? Yep. Late July, August. I joined the team over at WSH, Wisconsin Sports Heroics. Like Dunk has said, there are, a group of great people over there, guys and gals over there, and all, kinds of people alike. And I think as soon as I started writing there, eventually, I believe, I don't know who reached out first. I think you did, like, just say, like you appreciate what I was doing and stuff like that. And like started like, supporting my articles and all that. And I was like, who is this? Like Brett Duenkel or whatever, I don't know. I don't think you were Duenkel Productions at that point yet.
Nope.
But so then we just got to talking, man, and like, you were super chill and like you talked to me about like everything that you were going through in your life and like how things were going and that we kind of both, were into obviously sports and Wisconsin sports, and you were a big LeBron fan, the biggest, and I'm a big LeBron fan as well. And we just kind of clicked on that, man, like just like talking. And then even like recently, even more like over Snapchat call, like for hours on end and stuff like that, just discussing life. And that's kind of where we got like the idea to do this, is like we were talking and we're just like, dude, like it'd be crazy to just go on an episode that's not necessarily all sports and just talk about like life, and like you said, man, like, you're one of my best friends now. And it's crazy because like we were been saying, like we've only known each other for 6 or 7 months, and it's been a great ride, dude. And even though your takes on the GOAT debate are completely wrong, we can get past that as friends and agree to disagree that you are wrong and it is Michael Jordan. But
yeah, Andrew, I agree, man. And you know what's funny is when I joined the group over at WSH, I was a little nervous at first. A lot of people I didn't know, a lot of people I've never met or talked to before. And really, I built a lot of great friendships over there, with obviously Jake Sirianni, Robin Adams, a good friend of mine. Obviously Andrew Ochs, Napa, who co-hosts the show with Andrew. I'm kind of on his list right now, but You know, it's okay. I think we've kind of moved past that as the days went on. But like Andrew's saying, this is going to be a little bit of a different episode that you guys will be seeing. Me and Andrew are going to be talking a little bit about respect and leadership. Me and Andrew are two people that have mad respect for each other. I think that we both have great respect for each other. I would consider Andrew a wonderful, respectful person. He never tries to put anybody down. He's never tried to put me down through the situations that I've gone through this year with the COVID-19 pandemic, and having to stay home and all that. And Andrew's been very supportive throughout the whole process. And I think, Andrew, you mentioned it. We had like a 3-hour Snapchat FaceTime call. And it was unbelievable because we talked about sports. We talked about our 2 podcasts. We talked about everything. We talked about life. We've talked about stuff that we agree, disagree with going on in the world. And you know what? It was one of the best conversations that I've ever had. And I'm going to be the first to tell you to sit up here. And nowadays, when you try and have a conversation with some people, the respect isn't always there. Some people just try and shout over you or put you down for some stuff that you believe in. And me and Andrew are 2 people that don't believe in that whatsoever. We believe in listening, having an understanding. And what I gathered from this 3-hour FaceTime call was that me and Andrew became even better friends. We are good friends, but we just became better friends from this FaceTime call and just talking about things that are going on in each other's lives and having respect. Because the truth is, for any of you guys listening to this podcast right now, you don't always know what someone else is going through, what situation they're going through. This is Andrew. Speaking from experience, this has been one of the toughest 12 months of my life, probably the worst 12 months of my life. There's obviously been some good things. Meeting all the great people over at Wisconsin Ochs, starting Duenkel Productions, making a lot of new friendships. That's all been good. But, with the COVID pandemic, with some stuff going on in the real world, this has been one of the tougher 12 months of my lifetime. And Andrew is someone that I'm going to look back on and say, this was something good out of 2020. Me and Andrew becoming his friend. And I think me and Andrew are I think we're going to be friends for the rest of our lives, to be honest. And Andrew, I'll let you speak more on that. But shout out Andrew. He's a great person. He is absolutely unbelievable. And, I can't say enough good things about this dude.
Hey man, I appreciate that. And I think the most important thing that you said there was even though this past year in 2020 was such a hard year for so many people, there are, it's important to be able to pull some good things out of it. And whether it's, meeting you and becoming really good friends with you, or getting an opportunity to write for the website, where if COVID didn't happen, I probably would never have started doing that, just from, being busy with school and being with work and everything like that. And I think about, the fact that obviously so many people are going through such a rough time, and I think it's important in a time like this to be aware of that. And I think that's one of the things that you and I have connected on is that when we do, even if we do disagree on certain things, whether it's COVID related or just think life in general, we're always respectful of each other's opinion. And that's something that's is huge, I think, in today's world. And like you said, Dunk, man, you're, even though it's only been 7 months or so, I can, through the phone calls we've had and the Snapchat FaceTime calls, we've had some really, really great discussions, some honest discussions that are not always about, sports and things like that. Sometimes, you have to just have a sit down and get some real stuff out, and talk about real life issues. And we've done that. And like you said, I can really respect you for being able to respect where I come from. And that's where I get the, respect for you as well. So listen to what you're saying. And so always just, I think it's important to just listen to what people have to say, as long as they're being reasonable about it and, are looking for that respect. I think it's important to respect what they're saying. And on the lines of the friendship, man, I'm very, very thankful that me and you have connected, as friends, and had built a great friendship here. And I can see it lasting for a very long time. I think that this is definitely one of the better things that has come of it, and as well as, both of our podcasts, obviously, and hopefully, I wish you guys over at Duenkel Productions nothing but the best. And I know that you guys, feel the same way about us over at Make the Cut with Ochs and Napa, which, by the way, like Dunk said, go check out that All-Star Edition episode, because that is just one of hopefully many times you'll be on our show and vice versa. So we can't wait to get on Duenkel Productions.
Yeah, and guys, I wanna put this out there too. When we started this, we had it in mind that we would talk about some things outside of the sports world at times. Yep. And this is the first episode that we've taken that leap and that we've done that. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. And you know what? I'll tell you guys this right now. I think this is definitely something that, you definitely learn from. It's really, there are people in life that are sometimes going to be rude or mean to you. And there's times where there's going to be great people that are amazing, respectful. And that is the definition of Andrew Ochs, which, by the way, I mean, Make the Cut, everything you guys are doing there. Wish you guys nothing but the best. I'm really loving what you guys are doing. Like I said earlier, was on an episode. It was a lot of fun. I was a little nervous at first because first time guest on a podcast, there's a little bit I felt like added pressure, and especially considering the great friendship that me and Ochs have. We want to perform at our A+ game for each other anytime we go on each other's shows. And Andrew, now to this. I want to get some of your thoughts on just some of the stuff that some of the athletes do off the court. I know our guy, we're huge fans of him. Our guy has done a lot off the court. And if you guys don't know who we're talking about LeBron James, from St. Mary's St. Vincent High School in Akron, Ohio. Born December 30th, 1984, to young Gloria James. Sorry, I just like saying that.
Yeah.
But Andrew,
it's all very true. It's all true.
It is. I know the most about LeBron, but Andrew, I think being good leaders is another big thing right now. Being there for your family, being there for other people. Definitely some great leadership qualities. So I just want to get your thoughts a little bit on leadership. It can be basketball players off the court. It could be athletes off the court. It could be stuff that you look for. It could be all the above. But what are your thoughts, my guy?
Well, I think leadership as a whole, I think especially this past year has taken a whole new meaning in terms of what, just to say it, what the general public kind of expects of athletes nowadays, to stand up for what they believe in, to speak out on injustices that are in the world, especially with everything that went on this past summer, obviously. And I think it is very important because these athletes are polarizing figures and icons and people that young kids and even adults look up to, for advice and for motivation and for inspiration. And I guess I'm just going to touch on some athletes that I think do a great job of that. Obviously, you can't start a list without talking about LeBron James. I think what he was doing even way before anything that happened in the summer or beyond or before that is, he's been doing it. He's been doing it for a very long time. He's been leading at a very high level, whether you look at on the court, but especially off the court. What he's been able to do with his foundations and I Promise Foundation and building that school and sending those kids to college and paying for their tuition and giving them food, providing them transportation, providing them, bikes and books and everything else and shoes and all that. It's just amazing, and especially in a time like this when, it was bad for some kids around the world in general, just, that are underprivileged and don't have as much as maybe some others do. And I can only imagine that it's probably gotten even harder now since the pandemic has started, with people being out of work and everything like that. So he's somebody that I've always looked to for inspiration. Like I said, is somebody that, is going to be a leader in everything that he does. He does it to the highest level, no matter what. And obviously I got to start off with him. He's just been, just fantastic. I think just the NBA in general as a whole has been fantastic since especially the start of the pandemic and just leading and showing true leadership off the court, obviously with the Black Lives Matter movements and everything like that, and leading the charge there and putting the sayings and phrases on the back of their jerseys and whatnot, just trying to be vocal about what they support, and that's whether you agree with them or not. You have to respect that they're willing to put their names on the line and show up and show out for that, and put the money where the mouth is. That I don't have specific names, but I do know that there has been multiple. Kyrie Irving comes to mind, athletes that have given up so much of their own personal lives to be able to benefit other people and other groups of people, and I think that that's just amazing. So I really can't, speak much more highly of, what athletes have done in this last year. I think we've just seen a complete full ownership, I guess, of like athletes saying, you know what, we understand the platform that we have. We understand the kind of influence that we can have on the public, and that our voices mean something. And obviously, not to go political, but they obviously had a big part in, I would say, with the election this past November. So, making those voting centers out there and making the NBA arenas voting centers, getting out there, telling people to vote. And again, it's not even a matter of which side you're on. It's just a matter of looking at it and saying, you know what, like I can respect the fact that they're able to put the time in, back up what they're saying with whether it's money or time. And I just, really respect them for that.
Yeah, and me and you have talked extensively about how influential the NBA has been throughout these past 12 months. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the NBA, they put a ton of time, they put a ton of money, they put a ton of effort into everything that they've done. And you're right, it is great to see, because Andrew, let me tell you this right now, man. There are a ton of sports fans out there. There are a ton of sports fans. There are a ton of people that follow athletes, people that look up to athletes. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, we're that generation that has one or two athletes that like is our top of the line athletes that we look up to. Obviously, rest in peace to one of the greatest ones of those, Kobe Bean Bryant, who was a great leader, and I could.
He's right behind me. Yeah.
And I could not, what Kobe was going to do after basketball, I thought was going to be so influential. And it would have been unbelievable. And like you said, Andrew, the guy that we obviously talk about is LeBron, and he's done so much, and building the I Promise School, doing the More Than a Vote campaign, doing all these campaigns and things to be able to have people have an opportunity to go to school, have people have a safe place to go, have a safe place to eat. And I really give him a lot of credit for it. And obviously, I always say to people about LeBron, I love him on the basketball court, but I'm even more happy that what he does in the regular life, what he does in the real world. He doesn't make it like, oh, I'm LeBron James. I got all this, I got all this, I got all that. He looks out for other people, and especially in his hometown of Akron, Ohio, and in Los Angeles and everywhere. And Kyrie, Andrew, great example. Kyrie has been a very good off the court person. He has done a lot. He has done a lot for the community. He's done a lot for families affected. I think everybody has, and everybody in the NFL, NBA, MLB world, everyone's really taking it upon themselves to help people, and I think it's great to see as well. One of the things I love is that these team accounts that like the Bucks or the Lakers, they're taking the time out of their day to interact with the fans. That they're taking their time out of their day, which is awesome, and I hope that continues even when we're out of the pandemic, because I think it makes people happy. It puts a smile on their face, and And after these past couple months that we've been through, I definitely think we could enjoy some joy, and I think that obviously this video will be up on Sunday morning, and we'll do our March Madness show later on, which is another thing that I think is going to be a lot of fun for us to just kind of get away. And I think when you talk about leadership, Andrew, you talk about people being there for one another. You talk about people being influential. You talk about people being more than what they are, and two of the quotes that always stand out to me is, more than an athlete, by LeBron, and strive for greatness as well. I know those are both by LeBron, but more than an athlete, I think says even more, because you know what, these athletes, yeah, they get paid to play, you know what I mean, but they also have tremendous public impact. I mean, what LeBron did with the more than a vote campaign, getting so many people out to vote, I thought was great, because Andrew, you saw the voter numbers skyrocket this year. You did, and no matter what side you were voting for, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that you got out and you voted. That's all that matters. Really, I personally don't care what side you were on. Whoever you vote for is your decision, your opinion, and that's all I'm going to say on that. But Andrew, I think me and you have obviously built a great friendship on two of these great topics. And I also want to give two shout outs. Shout out to my high school football coach, Coach Tyson Mengel, and shout out to my college football coach, Coach Dustin Haas. Those have been two very influential people in teaching me how to be a better leader and be an even better person on and off the field. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, really quickly before we move on, I just want to touch on the guy behind me on the shelf there. I'd be, remiss if I didn't mention, the late great Kobe Bryant, like you said. Just really quick, what he obviously did on the court was, some could make a case for him being the greatest of all time. I would love to hear that argument. I think he does have a legitimate case in some ways. But like you said, what he did off the court and what he was going to do and what he did in like only the 3 years he was retired is just crazy. I think we all miss him very, very much. What he was doing and what he wanted to do for women's basketball is amazing. I think women's basketball deserves so much more respect. I personally love watching women's basketball. I watch it. I'm not even just saying this. I watch it all the time. And I think, what he was going to do for, not only just his daughters, but what everybody's daughter and somebody's sister and just women in general was going to be amazing. And I think, like we talked about Kyrie, I think in a lot of ways, Kyrie has kind of picked that up. If you look at some of the things that he's been doing, and I was thinking about this the other day, is like, when you look at what Kyrie's doing, he's doing fantastic work. I've had my criticisms of him for how he, handled his absence from the NBA. I felt like he could have handled it differently, but at the end of the day, like that's, he's doing what he feels he needs to do to get his mentals right. And he's come back and balled since then. I think he's in the MVP conversation, but what he's done off the court, I don't think anybody can have an issue with. The guy he's clearly a fantastic human being. He does so much for so many people. And, just kind of wrapping it up on my opinions is, like you said, as a whole, I'm really, really proud of the athletes and everything that they've done, especially in the last year. But again, they've been doing this for way longer than just the last year. I just want to make that, certain. But
Andrew, I completely agree with your point about women's basketball. It is completely disrespected. I watch it all the time. I'm a huge Seattle Storm fan, and it's not just because I have a crush on Brianna Stewart. It's not. It's not. It's not. And I love how they've been speaking up about this too. The WNBA as well took kind of the similar stance as the NBA, and they brought it to the forefront. I mean, they really did. And they showed up and showed out. I mean, if you were to sit up there and tell me what two organizations did the best job throughout this. The NBA and WNBA would be at the top of my list. And Andrew, I agree with you about Kyrie kind of picking that up. I totally agree with you. And I think too, Andrew, when Kyrie took that break, I know a lot of people were upset about it, and I don't blame them. This past 12 months, everybody's had some mental health issue throughout this whole thing, and not being able to see some of their loved ones or getting the virus, having someone be impacted by it. I mean, it doesn't matter. I really think that, and I'll be the first to sit up here and tell you this. I wasn't going to talk about this, but early on in the pandemic, your boy Duenkel dealt with some depression. And it sucked. So I know how everybody feels right now. It sucks. And, this is real shit, guys. This ain't no game, Andrew obviously knows how it's been for me lately. And, I dealt with depression early on. And you know what? I'm past it now, but I know how Kyrie was probably feeling. There's a lot going on. And
well, first of all, before I go on to what I was gonna say, man, obviously, like I already knew about what you just said, and I am really glad that you were able to push through that. And there's a lot of people dealing with that, man, and it's one of the most untalked about, things about this whole entire thing is like, yes, there are necessary things that have to happen for this virus, but I think a big thing that's being untalked about or not talked about enough is what you just said, man. Like so many people are going through so many mental health issues because they can't go anywhere. You know what I mean? And it forces people to sit there and just think all day and you think about like all crazy things like, how did we get here? Is this ever going to end? And all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm sorry you went through that. I know, quite a few people that, are going through the similar things, and that's not to diminish what you went through. It's just to kind of like, let you know, like, I don't know if every day for me is not a great day either. I don't think any day for anybody these days is a perfect day all the time. And I think, it's important. I'm glad that you and I are friends and we can talk, and, I'm always here to talk to. And, hopefully you have other people around you as well that you can speak to about it. But obviously any time of the day, night, man, I'm up really late every day. You can call me on Snapchat or whatever. We can talk. And I know you're there to do the same for me as well, so just know I'm always here for you, brother. All right. We're going to get through this, man. Like you said, we were talking, hopefully we'll talk about July 4th. We're looking like, maybe we can start getting back together with the fam.
Barbecue, baby.
Barbecues and all of that. But really quickly, because I've to make the distinction on where my issue with Kyrie was never the fact that he stepped away.
Right.
I think he has every right as an adult to do so.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I maybe had an issue with was just how we went about. Like, I do feel, and in the grand scheme of life, I just want to say basketball doesn't really matter. Okay. Like dribbling a ball, shooting it in a hoop. It's not really like, but because we are in the world where, we have jobs and everything, I just feel like I would have liked him. And what does it matter what I think? But in my opinion, just let your bosses know what's going on. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't have that relationship with his teammates and or his organization. Yeah. And that's a whole nother thing that, we can get into, the power dynamic there between player and coach and player and owner and stuff, and maybe not feeling comfortable. And maybe he obviously felt like he didn't owe it to tell them. But I do feel like, you would, if the same thing happened to you and you had a job, you would likely have to tell your boss,
yeah,
hey, I'm not feeling it. I need to take a break and I'll be back in a week. My only issue with him was that there was no communication. And I think that, his teammates would probably say the same thing, like, or maybe they wouldn't, maybe they have no issue with the fact that he didn't tell them.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, I'm just I'm just happy he was able to step away, regather his thoughts, get his mentals right. Because like you said, you can't even play well if you're not 100% mentally into it. You know what I mean? He's going to go out there and play like crap anyways, because he's not thinking about the game as much as he needs to be, So I'm glad he went away. I'm glad that he didn't retire, because he is, in my opinion, I'm going to say he's the most talented player in the NBA. He's not the best, but all around talent, the dude is ridiculous, especially offensively. I think he's the most offensively skilled player we've seen since Kobe Bryant. So, and that includes LeBron James. I'm sorry, because Kyrie can score from anywhere. LeBron, not so much. Streak at the free throw line, streak it from the 3-point line. But no, my point is that anybody, I think, should be able to step away if they want to. And I'm glad he's hopefully doing better. And he's just a fantastic human being. And he's one of my favorite players in the NBA, not only to watch, but just in general. So.
Yeah. I mean, Kyrie, obviously, he was there in Cleveland, with LeBron. And I thought those two, I thought if those two kept playing, I thought they would become one of the greatest duos ever, then maybe the greatest of all time.
Yep.
I really think I think that would have been LeBron's best shot at getting 6 rings, was with Kyrie in Cleveland. I think they could have won 2, 3 more.
6.
I'm not sure. Well, here's the thing, okay, is when Kyrie left, it was what, 2017? So 4 years later, LeBron's still the best player in the league. Kyrie is still balling. I mean, he's balling. And then, I mean, you talk about you probably get another guy there, because who wouldn't want to play with two of the best offensive and defensive talents. I mean, just all around talents ever. I think those two guys are definitely up there. But maybe LeBron gets 6, maybe he doesn't. But we appreciate you guys for listening to this. I think that too much is always made about just sports. And, a lot of the debates you have on the shows is similar,
Yep.
Obviously there's the LeBron Jordan debate is one of the most common ones out there. And obviously, top 10 NFL teams, top 10 NBA teams, MLB teams, like any kind of power rankings, like all that stuff, like game previews, recaps, all that it's kind of the same. So we appreciate you guys for listening to this stuff. And you know what? The stuff that's shared in here is all true, and it's all from the heart. And me and Ochs had discussed this, and I thought we did a great job of keeping it very clean, not going too deep on issues that you don't really need to get too deep into. I think that definitely there are issues where you can talk privately and dig deeper, like me and Ochs have had. But we're not going to share that with you guys, and we appreciate you guys for listening to this. We are actually about to go right into another episode after this, where we are talking sports, and it's a lot more fun. But Andrew, any last words? I thought this was great. I thought this was one of the best episodes I've ever recorded. And I'm so happy that I got to have you on to talk about this. Any last words, my man?
Not really. I mean, like you said, I'm just glad that we got to do it, and we had a good good discussion. This is obviously just one small fraction of what you and I talk about privately, but like you said, but we don't need to dig too deep into any particular issue. I think that I think we discussed a lot of good things, talked about leadership, talked about what you and I and other people are going through in this time, and hopefully we're on the what is it, the downhill side of the back 9 of this whole thing, and we're hopefully going to be back to normal as normal as we can get by July 4th. So that'd be a good date, July 4th, fireworks, some barbecue with the family and whatnot, and a small gathering, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's all good news from here, but I'm glad that we got to do it, and hopefully we can do it again sometime soon, because it's good to, every once in a while talk about things that aren't necessarily just sports. So
Yeah,
Just want to
and-
give a quick shout out one more time.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, everybody in the WNBA. You guys are all super underappreciated. I think they all know that. And hopefully that changes in the future. And just everybody else, every other athlete that's doing that we can't get to. We could be here for 5 hours talking about all the athletes, if not more. But
Right.
yeah, I'm glad that we had this discussion.
And also, guys, just before we end this specific episode, I just want to say, keep your comments respectful down below. This stuff is obviously not easy for me and Ochs to always talk about, and you know, it's hard to share some of this stuff with you guys. This is some stuff that you guys don't know about, either of us, and conversations that we had. So please keep your comments positive in this video. If not, it will be blocked from the video if it's not respectful. We don't need any hate or negativity on this episode. This is all about positivity, respect, love, leadership, all the above. I can go on and on. But shout out to Andrew. And now we're moving into episode 36. Peace out, everybody.
See ya.
All right.